Well, good evening, everyone. Hello, my name is Barbara Hartley. I'm the Executive Director of the Downtown Arts District. I am so excited about tonight's program. I'm joining you from above Pilars, where just down the hall there will be an event by Fusion Fest called Diversitastic, and I'm really looking forward to it. But you are in for a treat tonight. So welcome to our second of our virtual art receptions featuring exhibitions at CityArts for the month of August. As many of you know, we did have an in-person opening night reception on third Thursday at CityArts. It was wonderful to see so many of you out, and we want to thank you for abiding by our protocol for COVID. So we do ask that everyone wear a mask and sign a short survey on the way in, and thank you for making your reservations. We are doing what we can to provide a safe environment, and we know that not everyone can make it, and it may not be something that you're comfortable with at this time, which is why we bring you these virtual art receptions. So you're in for a treat. Thank you for joining us this evening. The best part of virtual art receptions is that they give you an up close and personal look at the artwork, and you also get to hear from the artists and the curators. You can hear directly from them throughout this evening and get a better understanding of the beautiful works of art on display at CityArts. A true art reception would not be complete without a beverage. Ironically, even though I'm above a bar, I don't have one tonight, but I encourage you to join in and get your favorite beverage and enjoy the show this evening. So before we get started, I just wanted to remind everyone that this is a team effort. We have Whitney Morris, who is helping with the virtual reception. She is operating Facebook chat and helping with information related to the event. And Kat Quast, our operations and event manager, is at CityArts with her camera, so you can see the fantastic exhibits up close through her lens. And Haani Hogan, our development and marketing manager, is coordinating the virtual event from home. Hi, Haani. Thank you so much for the great job you're doing. I know there's a lot in store for this evening. Love the artwork behind you. So why don't we get started? Take it away.
So thank you so much, Barbara. And also, it's not in the script because I wanted it to be a surprise. But today is Barbara's birthday, everyone. So, I love all the love that we've been receiving on our Instagram page and our Facebook page. It's just been probably the most active that our Instagram page has been for one post. So it's really wonderful. And I also had this. So happy birthday. I randomly had this in my house. So happy birthday, Barbara. We love you. And thank you so much for everything that you do for Downtown Arts District and for all of the artists in our community. Yay.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. I'm so excited to be with you guys tonight on my birthday and to be celebrating this evening with the Fusion Fest group. So thanks for the shout out. And thank you everybody for the wonderful birthday wishes.
You're welcome. All right. So we're going to say goodbye to Barbara for right now. She'll be back. She'll be back later. But yes, like what Barbara said earlier is I am Ani Hogan. I'm the Development and Marketing Manager at Downtown Arts District. A couple housekeeping rules. If you have any questions for the artists, we will have a little bit of time at the end of the program. If you want to ask them any questions, you can send them in the Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube chat, and we will be collecting them, or you can send them via direct message to me, and we'll ask them to the artist later. But another thing that I want to share with you is a thing that we're offering to all of our for all of our artists for the exhibits at CityArts. So one of the main things is that when we closed our doors at CityArts during the stay-at-home order, we promised that we would still be dedicated to helping artists sell their work. So at downtownartsdistrict.com, with the amazing help of our branding agency Remixed, we added online shopping carts to our website. So if you just go to downtownartsdistrict.com, like what I have here, and then you click the little hamburger on the side and you click CityArts, these are all the different exhibits that we have at CityArts now. And so, for example, tonight's show is the B-side show titled Lemons, and that's in the Signature Gallery upstairs. So the Signature Gallery upstairs website is right here, and you can see all of the featured artists named here and all of the artwork that is for sale. So we make it very easy for people who are not comfortable coming into the gallery, but they can purchase it online at the comfort of their own home. And then we will coordinate a way for to do curbside pickup. You drive up to our courtyard and one of our employees will run your art out to you. So it's a really great option and resource for our artists. And we also have a shop with all original designed merchandise with really cool stuff like this tote bag that's all the Orlando signs, iconic Orlando signs, and then citrus swans. And then the last thing that I'm going to say in announcements is we entered a partnership with OrlandoMerchStore.com, which is a great t-shirt program where you support, by buying one t-shirt, you support 3 different small businesses in Orlando. So for example, this shirt's $25, $10 goes to Downtown Arts District, $2 goes to Second Harvest Food Bank, and the remaining money goes to Impress Inc., the company that launched OrlandoMerchStore.com. And so we commissioned Stemberger, the artist Stemberger, to create this awesome social distancing survival kit t-shirt. And it's super fun. You know, it has toilet paper, hand sanitizer. It even has a tiger, which tiger feels like such a long time ago in quarantine with Tiger King. And we have it in desert pink or in heavy metal. So yeah, support Downtown Arts District by buying art, buying merchandise, or buying one of those shirts, because that shirt program actually ends on August 31st. And obviously self-serving, I want you to buy the social distancing survival kit to support Downtown Arts District, but there are truly over 100 t-shirts for different businesses that you can support in our community. So now we're ready for the show, and we have Kat, who is at CityArts. She's amazing, and she will be taking everyone around while some of the artists join us from home to talk about their art. So let's see where Kat is.
You know, kind of one of those weird things. So I'm going to do that now. Say hi, Kat. I'm at CityArts.
Hi.
And Sleds.
Hello.
But I'm turning around. Look, there's Jeff.
Hello.
And I probably have to flip it because it's probably going like this.
Yes.
And then we gotta go like this.
There we go.
Now we're in business, right?
Awesome. Hey,
So,
Skip.
yeah, so she said, hey, Skip.
Oh, hey, how you doing? I'm down here at CityArts, looking like a darn snack in front of the new B-Side Artist Gallery exhibit show. It's a group exhibit. It is our 12th year here at CityArts doing the B-Side, which is actually a local Orlando artist crew. So it's a group of a lot of different people. And every year for the last 12 years, CityArts has hosted our group exhibit. And this year is called Lemons. Why is it called Lemons? Well, right now, everybody is going through a lot of kind of dealing with unfavorable circumstances in their life, whether it's the pandemic or murder hornets and all different kinds of things. So this exhibit is all about doing the best that you can with what it is that you've got and trying to make some lemonade out of the lemons that life keeps on giving you. So we're going to show you around. We're going to talk to some of the B-side artists who are in this exhibit and give you guys a little bit of an idea and a little bit of a tour of Lemons that is going to be up until September 13th. So the first thing that I want to show you is one of my new pieces. One of the lemons that I had to kind of deal with leading into this show was the fact that with curating this show and promoting this show was very quickly kind of ran out of time to be able to finish my own piece. But in the last kind of moments, in the last day before the exhibit, was able to finish this up. This piece is called Money Solves Everything. It is a multi-panel plexiglass piece that is taking my traditional style of using hand-cut stencils and spray paint and applying it to a different medium instead of canvas to a multi-panel plexi. Now, this was actually inspired and aided by another local artist named Robert Shirk, who creates using multi-panel plexiglass. He has a different artistic style, obviously, but he helped me through the actual mechanism of how to be able to hang and space the different panels. Now, this is reminiscent of, if you're a fan of old school Disney films, like some of the originals like Snow White, Cinderella, Alice in Wonderland, those were actually created painting on glass panels, and they would have all of the panels spaced apart and stacked, and they would shoot downward with a camera to be able to give each layer have some spatial distance from each other. So this is basically the same thing. Each one of these items here is actually painted on a different pane of glass, some of it on the front, some of it on the back, and it allows you to have a little bit of a space here between some of the items and objects. This is obviously a tribute to the Nevermind album cover by Nirvana, which is actually really cool because Nirvana was just featured in the new Batman trailer. So everyone's got Nirvana on the brain. So this is my tribute to Nirvana using the Monopoly Man in place of the baby and some Monopoly money in place of the dollar bill. But in order to stay true to form, he's got his little wiener right there. So just keep it accurate. This is available right now in the Lemons exhibit. I also have two of my other spray paint pieces. These are not digital reproductions. These are created using hand-cut stencils and spray paint. This piece you're looking at right now is called Bird Brain. It has 112 different individual colors of spray paint, all used to be able to create up and build up these colors and shapes here of all the pieces that the bird has in its stomach. And in the same way, less colors. This one's got, I think, about 18 colors in it. This is not a digital reproduction either. This is a tribute to the Jaws poster. This is all 100% spray paint. There are no brushes involved. There is no computer generated or cut stencils or vinyl or anything like that. This is all cut by hand with an X-Acto blade and masking tape in order to be able to create each one of these layers, one color, one layer at a time, until you see the finished product here. So I wanted to show you some of the other exciting artists in the B-Side Artist Show, starting with a good friend of mine who helped me brand and create some really cool visual promotional materials for our exhibit. And his name is Sleds, and he's standing right over here. Hello, sir. How are you doing? It's good to see you. So we're standing here in front of the limit, and anyone who's seen any of the promo materials for the show or the poster will recognize this. Can you tell me a little bit of that process of kind of like creating it? I know that we had kind of a discussion about the concept of it. Can you give me a little bit about the kind of like the process of going from an idea to a sketch? I mean, you had it pretty much turned around within just a day or two. So tell us a little bit about that.
I was pretty much just ripping out the suggestions you gave me during our conversation, which was the show's gonna be called Lemons. That's all I really had to do. Go from, you did talk about like the situation today, like the pandemic, what's going on in 2020, and the way the years turned out, and basically taking that situation and turning it into something positive. So I played with that concept a little bit, and basically started off with a lemon and added something that kind of represents what the pandemic means to a lot of people, which is something kind of dark, kind of dismal, kind of bleak.
Sure, yeah.
But again, turning that lemon, turning it into lemonade, making it into art, and just kind of like adding that dismal dark thing and making it beautiful.
Sure. Yeah. Now you're kind of known as being a digital artist, so you work a lot on the computer, but being able to take that from the digital side into like actually creating using wood paneling, creating acrylic brushes, and taking one thing from one medium to the other. Can you tell me a little bit about the process of being able to take something that's digital and reproduce it physically?
Yeah, that's definitely been a challenge for me. Like as you mentioned, I'm mainly an illustrator, and I've been working on Photoshop for like maybe over 20 years or so. So that's basically how I churned out art. I come up with a concept, I draw it, sketch it out on paper, ink it, scan it, then clean it up in Photoshop, and then print it. And that's basically how I was doing it. So I wanted to kind of take it further. So I kind of been teaching myself how to paint. And that's why I think, in my opinion, it looks very different from when it looks on digital to when I actually make something, some actual physical art that's alive in the world.
Yeah.
You can see like there's more brush strokes. I try to mimic what I did like on
Also with these cut marks in here.
yeah, that's basically what I use for my guides. So I just put some quick guides down that kind of, this is going to be slow, this is where the teeth go, this is where the eye sockets go, and then just kind of like go from there, and I just start sort of blending colors until it starts kind of looking like something.
Yeah, that's awesome. Oh, well, let's move on to, we're going to.
Well, you don't have to move on. I was just, social distancing you.
Oh, so-
No, I wanted him in the job.
So why don't you tell them where they can find you online and check out some more of your.
Yeah, most of my stuff is here at Sleds. I kind of use Instagram as my platform, my main platform. I do some stuff on Facebook, but that is pretty much a fancy arrow to my website, and my website is a fancy arrow to my Instagram.
Awesome, very cool.
Awesome.
Well, thanks so much for taking the time and talking with us. We are going to, I think, go to someone on Zoom now.
Jason Littlefield.
So I'm going to step this way. Thanks so much for taking your time. So follow me over here.
Following
Over here, we're going to have hopefully Jason Littlefield on Zoom with us while we're here in front of his pieces. Jason, are you there with me?
Yes, I am. What's up?
Hello, sir. How are you doing today?
Good. How you doing?
Fantastic. I'm standing in front of your part of the B-side exhibit here. I wanted to give you a little bit of a chance to introduce yourself and talk about what you have here in the exhibit.
Yeah. I mean, traditionally, I do painting, so a lot of my stuff is primarily in black watercolor, and I try to do stuff that's little tiny symbols of things and give them a little bit more meaning, or at least like pull from the history of their meaning, because a lot of stuff you don't realize actually has some symbolism to it. So like, for example, if you look at the mouse and stuff like that, a mouse, like for like an animal totem and stuff like that, it kind of tells you to like look what's right in front of you and like picture the small things in life and kind of like, what are you happy about? Like those little tiny things that are around you. So I try to like, give him his little spotlight. And then other pieces, like the ones that have more subject matter in them, I play off kind of a specific word or a name, and just kind of dive into that and what I picture in my head what it would look like. So that piece is called perspicacious, which is actually a word that means to like have any or like ready insight into understanding things. And I thought it was a very fitting piece to go along all these other ones that have these really random names, to kind of like.
Is that all watercolor, that piece?
Yeah, it's all black watercolor on white arches. They're caught in white. And so like that B piece, I I did that one specifically because, you know, a bee, it's symbolic for community and teamwork and kind of reminding you to like use your talents that you specifically have to help out the community. And I think it's kind of fun if someone sees that piece and looks up a bee, more often than not, they're going to kind of find those rabbit holes that I'm trying to challenge you to go into and dive into. So it's fun to do that. And then obviously flowers, everyone knows how much meaning they have. Like you go to a place and you're specifically picking out a flower by its color and like an arrangement of them so you can give them to someone and like say a specific message. So, you know, they have like the one in the middle is a lily, and I painted that one for the BLM movement. Like I wanted to raise some money for like some of the protesters that are out there, and I was selling prints for that. 100% of the proceeds were going to it. But the meaning of a lily is to take a stance and embrace your own power. So like go out there and be that lily, you know. But you specifically, if you're looking into that stuff, you see those things. So and like there's the rose on the left, and then on the right you have the another flower that's basically symbolic of friendship and like mutual support. So just kind of like when I'm making paintings, it's always like I'll pick a word and either try to create an image or like an idea about it, or I'll pick an object and kind of like give it the spotlight that I think it deserves, because it has those meanings.
Awesome. Well, you're not only a watercolor artist, you have other mediums as well too, that you implemented in previous years at the B-Side Artist Show. Are you tell me a little bit about kind of some of the other mediums that you use to create your artwork?
Yeah, I mean, typically I stay in the wheelhouse of black and white, but I do, you know, murals and stuff, and that you can't really do with watercolor if you want it to last. So you work with spray paint, and I do some screen printing stuff. But it's always really the same area of like, you can't see it, but behind me there's actually a piece of, it's called Tough Luck, and it's got a horseshoe in it. So that one's screen printed, and again, tough luck. Like it's one of those things where why is a horseshoe symbolic to luck? I don't know, but it is, and let's play off those things.
Yeah, well, I think that definitely works with the lemons idea as well too, and the concept for the show. Why don't you tell everybody a little bit about how they can find you and follow you online?
Yeah, perfect. Pretty much any social media is going to be Littlefield Paints, or you can go to my website, which is just jasonlittlefield.com. But yeah, Instagram, Facebook, all of that stuff at Littlefield Paints, you'll find me.
Awesome. All right, thanks so much for talking with us. Have a good night.
You too, man. Cheers.
We have someone else coming up here. We're going to continue to walk around. Who is it?
Morgan.
Awesome. All right, Morgan, are you there?
Not yet. Not yet. So
why don't we look over here at PJ? We could talk about her a little bit while we're getting that worked out. This is another one of the B-Side artists. Her name is PJ Spada. She is a oil artist. Well, she works with acrylic as well too, but she creates these kind of like hyper nature type oil paintings that kind of have lots of symbolism and little things kind of hidden in them, both literally and figuratively. This is actually one of her friends, and inside of this painting is kind of a story of 2020 thus far. We have aliens and killer hornets and all different, and the pandemic and the mask and everything, and we have some conspiracy tinfoil hat going on here, and it's really just trying to find a little bit of balance while in nature, while at the same time kind of being surrounded by all of the uncontrollable circumstances and all of the limits essentially that we're all putting up with right now, as being a living, breathing member of the world right now. So do we have Morgan on the phone with us or on Zoom?
Hi, Skip.
Hi, how are you?
I'm well.
It's good to see you. Well, not to see you, I can't see you, but it's good to hear you. Why don't you give us a little bit of a breakdown of the pieces that you have here? They're all created with spray paint, correct?
Yeah, so these two pieces I put in the show are both entirely spray paint. Unlike you, mine are freehand, so I don't use any stencils. If you zoom in on the pieces, you can see lots of splatter and drips. When I first started spray painting, the drips drove me crazy, and I hyper fixated on perfection. And I heard this great quote from Andy Warhol where they asked him why he left the drips in his screen prints, and he said, well, everybody drips, you got to have drips. And I just learned to love it. So we took very different paths with our spray paint techniques.
We sure did. We're kind of like two sides of a coin.
Oh yeah.
I get completely man, I can have a panic attack or a meltdown if I get drips and spray and overspray on my stuff. But here, let's go around and look at the second piece as well too. I'm definitely seeing a theme here with lots of blood. A lot of your artwork has kind of a zombie or a kind of a monster kind of appeal to it. Can you tell us a little bit about the studio that you have and then a lot of the artwork that you create?
Yeah, all of my work tends to focus on things that are very visceral. I used to paint a lot of gore. Sex is a common theme. I used to almost exclusively do spray paint, and these two pieces are kind of special. I'm really glad I was able to get them in the show this year because these were some of the last spray paint pieces I did before I was in a car accident, and I wasn't able to use cans for a long time. And you know, I thought I would never spray paint again. And these two pieces actually just came back to me from California a couple weeks ago. So it was really nice to get these back and kind of be reminded of where I was 8 years ago for my first B-side show. And it feels very full circle, but I still love them. I'm still very proud of them.
Well, and we're super happy to have had you in this year's B-side. And again, like you mentioned, you know, it's been more than a few years since having you in one of the group exhibits. Right now, I know that you have a lot of the way that you kind of interact with your audience and show a lot of your work is at cons, like Comic-Cons and different kinds of cons around the state. And right now, obviously, we're not having those, and those are all kind of big gatherings are all kind of canceled. What are you doing right now as far as creating pieces and showing pieces, and what's the best way for people to be able to check out some of your other artwork?
You know, it's been pretty devastating. I had 24 out-of-state shows scheduled this year, and 20 were canceled. So that's pretty much everything I had planned. But the bright side is that when I go to those events, I'm just selling work. I'm not really making it. And I was kind of craving more time at home to create. And now I have all the time on my hands. So I've just been staying busy, like really focusing on making new original pieces and kind of getting to all those little ideas that you kind of keep backlogged and never really have time for. So I have been cranking out a lot of work in quarantine. Awesome. But it is frustrating. I miss interacting with people. I miss, you know, talking about art, consuming art. That's something that, you know, I'm really feeling that lack. You know, we're 5 months in, it's going to be a while before we really get back to this. So hopefully B-side next year, we'll be doing this face to face.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Can you tell them how people can get a hold of you online?
All my social media is Lux Nova Studio, LUXNOVA. That's Instagram, Facebook, everything. So I'm pretty easy to find, and I try to stay updated as often as I can.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for taking the time to talk to us. I think you're a great example. I mean, everyone here of what the side effects of and what the real world kind of reaction is to the pandemic and to having all of these events canceled and having essentially kind of the direct channel that a lot of us have to our audience, to the kind of the sales and the relationship and being able to kind of take care of our own bills and be self-employed and all of those things has essentially really been cut off. So every one of the sales, every one of the prints, people being able to go and follow people online, go check out all of these artists here at B-Side. and definitely support in any way that you can, whether it is buying an original, buying a print, buying a t-shirt, or just following them online. Morgan, thanks so much for talking to us. We're going to keep walking around here and checking out some more of the artwork. This is one of our watercolor artists here. His name is Robert Johnson. He's actually one of the artists included in the On the Spot TV show that I produce and am the showrunner for Sam Flax Orlando and Downtown Arts District. His name is Robert Johnson. He creates portraits out of inspirational athletes, and the stories and a lot of his pieces have stories behind some of those inspirational figures. In the On the Spot exhibit a couple months ago, he had one of Muhammad Ali and of Colin Kaepernick, which went in with the Black Lives Movement. This individual, I'm fortunate, I know that he's a UCF Knight. He's not here with us to be able to tell us more about it, and I'm not a big sports guy. But I am a big fan of Robert Johnson. He does everything using only watercolors, and I think that the depth and the color and the portraits that he's able to create using just that one medium is really amazing. So this is his contact, where you can find him online down here. The next artist that we have here, his name is Peterson Guerrier, I think. I mean, I'd say his name differently every single time, and they're always wrong. But this is his new piece. Is called But That Is Not All. Oh no, that is not all. It is acrylic, and he paints really strong figures. He's a person of color, and he usually creates portraits around strong persons of color. He also is another one of our On the Spot artists, and he has a real amazing talent for bringing color together and having these kind of vibrant images and vibrant characters in his portraits. He also owns one of the art galleries downstairs called the Red Chair Gallery. Is that correct?
Red Tape
Gallery, which you find right on the side of the City Arts building. Now, we have 3 pieces here from the same artist. His name is Julio Sanchez, and he has more abstract type artwork, but that also kind of encompasses and pulls in his Latin heritage. He has this one piece here. It's called Alien Love and Peace. He has Artistic Quixote and I Was Born an Artist. Some of these are mixed media on canvas. This piece here in the middle has actually been pieced together and has different pieces and elements of his creative process, and wire and epoxy and lots of different things that he pulls together for some of his mixed media pieces. And then he has another one here kind of about being an artist and time, and there never being enough time, and just trying to really maximize the time that you have to be able to create and express those artistic drives and ideas. So we can keep on moving unless we have someone else to talk to.
No, Lima's not here just yet, so
right.
Let's go look at Samantha's.
So this is Samantha Shoemaker. She, again, is another one of our on-the-spot artists. She is a multi-medium artist, meaning that she actually works in multiple different artistic mediums. She does oil on canvas, such as this is one of her portraits. It's called False Memories. But also in the last year and a half or so, she's really started creating work using clay and creating these sculptures using clay and resin. This is one piece called Zombie here. She actually casts the face and the character and then creates the resin mold. This is actually Tyler, the creator. Both of these are 100% sculptures, and she kind of builds them up piece by piece. She has a very successful YouTube channel where she shows a lot of the creative process in fabricating these pieces. And you guys should definitely check her out on YouTube. She just crossed 160,000 subscribers on YouTube. So it is a good idea. Go on YouTube and be her 160,001 subscriber. This is another one of her pieces here, another oil piece that she created called Stairway to the Soul. And here is her contact information on where you can find her online. So let's walk over here. We only have a few more artists left. I want to show you a gentleman named Jamie Margari. He is a sculptor, and he has two pieces with us for this. He is also one of the on-the-spot artists. This is, I'm sure you'll recognize, one of the piranha plants from the video game Super Mario Brothers. Obviously, this thing is a lot more hyper detailed and a lot more violent looking and scary looking. All of this has been sculpted by hand and using different kind of cutting and etching tools to be able to create all of this scratchy detail and texture. He's got different mediums that he's using, different kinds of glosses, finishes, lacquers, to be able to create this really hyper realistic. Some areas look wet, some areas look dry, some areas look more kind of velvety and textury like on the leaves, and some kind of look more slick. He even has little details in here, shout outs to Mario, of these little mushrooms. There's a power up mushroom, there's an extra life mushroom, and I think that one is just for recreational purposes. So, and then we have one more video game inspired sculpture over here from the same artist. This is a brand new sculpture he just completed a couple of days before the exhibit. This is Miss Pac-Man. He actually has a Mr. Pac-Man that he created a few years back that went viral online, and it has definitely more than 10,000, I think maybe like 50,000 views on that video on YouTube. Done very well. This is all sculpted, and again, it's textured using different kinds of etching tools and stuff. He's created the eyes from scratch, and when you see into the mouth, the tongue and the inside of the mouth has that very wet, slick look. So it's very hyper realistic, and it really kind of gives us almost kind of scary dystopian look at what some of these video game characters that we're very familiar with will look like, or would look like if they were real. So we're going to keep on moving. We have 6 different digital prints from artist Swamberger. He is one of the original members of the B-Side Artists, and this year he wanted to create some pieces that would be a little bit more accessible for people to be able to bring home. And so he has these 18 by 24 digital prints that are framed and matted and ready for you to take home and enjoy in your home or studio. There is one here is called Radio Machine. This one here is called Dating. This one here is called Abide. And then Sound, Mind, Body, and Foam, Digital Type, and Red versus Wolf. Very cool looking wolf guy. This is his contact information where you can find him online.
Can only miss you. It's all you.
All right.
Let's go to Parker's.
And so we have Steve Parker. He's one of the owners and operators of the Redefined Arts Gallery here in CityArts. But he is not just a curator and gallery owner. He's also one of the original members of the B-Side Artists. This is a piece that is painted on wood panel, and it is called Sorbet Midnight Glow. It is acrylic and spray paint on wood. And
You know, we've got a bunch of wood cutouts this time.
yes, we do. And this is his contact information where you can find him online. And make sure you check out the new exhibit in the Redefined Art Gallery right down the hallway. Another one of our younger and more newer artists, his name is Halsey. This is 3 pieces that he's done. I'm sure that you guys have probably seen this character in some shape or form around town. He definitely is very prolific out on the street doing wheat paste and doing these mini murals or throw-ups of this character with different text or different kind of body parts kind of being exposed. But these are 3 of his pieces available here. One is called Only Natural, the other is called I Love, and the last one is called The Future. And if you would like to follow and catch up with him online, here is where the last artist that we unfortunately are not able to talk to. We were hoping we'd be able to talk to him in person, but I will speak on his behalf. This is Jermaine Lemus, another one of the original members of the B-Side Artists. He has a couple of few different mediums that he's presenting this year. This one is more akin, I think, to his traditional style that most people know from him. It's mixed media, has different elements that are being brought in between photography, sketching, etching with acrylic, and then some other mediums of like spray paint and watercolor. So this is called Galapagos Intuition while wearing a mask. Again, referencing Lemons and referencing the kind of 2020 of what's going on. He is an artist who uses a lot of small details and symbolism to try and tell a story of what's going on within that piece. And I don't think it takes very much to be able to kind of pick out some of these pieces and to spot some familiar items from what's going on presently. And then in addition to that, he's got some sketches here, some pencil and chalk work, as well as some watercolor work here as well too.
Yeah, he's been working, as you look at these, the same female artist, or model, right? I think her name is, I never know, but here I have a little digital thing. So this is the model in most of his pieces. Camlyn Diaz. As you can recognize her, she's the same face. And
then you can
the
find him
big
online.
one. Yep. And this is Jermaine right here. This is his stuff.
All right, so we are all out of artists. I think the number is 13 artists here at CityArts right now, the upstairs gallery, and you can come through September 13th and check out the Lemons exhibit. Like I said, right now, all of these artists, this is them really coming together to be able to put this together. There's not a lot of events going on right now, obviously, so please go and take the time to follow these artists online. Check out the prints that they have, t-shirts, originals, and be sure to access the what Hani was talking about at the beginning of the video of their website. You can purchase any of these originals or prints online and have them delivered, or have them, you can pick them up at the curb without actually having to, get out of your car or potentially be in an unsafe environment. So definitely come down through September 13th. Check out Lemons in person and take home one of these beautiful pieces home with you. All right, so I'm going to kick it back over to Hani, and they're going to show you some more of what's going on at CityArts.
Thank you, Skip.
So we actually, tonight's reception is only B-side, so we don't even have what we're going through for the rest of the gallery because we did that last night, but we are in time for questions, and Barbara was gonna get us started on questions.
Yes, Skip, don't go away. I have a question for you.
Okay.
So tell everybody a little bit more about B-side. I've been following you all for over 10 years, and it's been so amazing to watch the growth of so many of the members of the B-side art collective. How many artists are involved? How do you get involved? How do you become a B-side artist, and what's that story?
Well, the B-side artists are a creative collective here in Orlando, Florida. It was started 12 years ago, so whatever that ends up being. It was started by a small group of artists. I was not actually a part of it at that time. I don't even think I was doing artwork at that time. I was just doing primarily music. It was started by Jermaine Lemus, Swanberger, Chris Tobar, Peterson, Peter Van Flores, and Pauline Perez, a number of artists, some that don't even really exhibit with B-side. So B-side is something that has kind of grown and expanded over the years. I think there's probably over 50 people who are technically B-side. However, B-side really continuously boils down to like a small group of about a dozen people who for the last 12 years have been showing in these group shows here at CityArts. And so as the roster kind of changes and shuffles and new people are introduced in, I mean, there's some people here, this is their first show here with us. There's some people here who's last year was their first show with us. So I'm actually second wave B-side. I think there's probably about 5 waves of B-side so far. And over the last couple of years, I've actually curated and run the group exhibit, and was kind of responsible in the the picking who the kind of the roster Suicide Squad was going to be, and then making sure that the theme was something that was exciting and hopefully people would want to come check out, something fun for the audience. So I mean, even in this year we had the theme being called Lemons, but one of the fun things was we had it set up so as you walked into the gallery, it actually smelled like lemons. As you walk inside and come through the threshold.
You also hung this show.
Really great. Thank you for explaining that backstory. I think it's such an honor for the folks that are involved as artists in the B-side group, and I love that there's so many different mediums and styles. So it's an interesting group of very talented individuals.
That was something that was really important with me this year specifically. I wanted to invite people that maybe were also part of the On the Spot family to be able to really diversify the different mediums that are presented here in this year's group show. So that we have sculpture artists, oil artists, watercolor artists, acrylic artists, spray paint artists, all across the board. And it's really, I think, a really filled out and diverse show from, the racial mix, the gender mix, the all across the board. It's definitely a very inclusive environment for this year, for sure.
And I feel like you all help to raise each other up and learn from each other as well. I remember your first show very, very well at the old location in the Redefined Gallery. It was super fun, super, I guess, timely at the time. It was also a political year. So Jason, Morgan, you guys did a great job tonight. Thank you so much. So I'm always interested in process, right? So process of, like, what are some of the new things you're doing? What are you doing that might be different to share with people who are emerging artists? It's an evolution for a lot of artists, where you work in one medium and it kind of evolves over time. Are there any takeaways or tips you might want to share with folks watching tonight? And also any really fun, interesting stories during your growth as an artist, like an aha moment? What are you really proud of? It's a lot. You got to unmute.
I guess I'll go first. So the advice I always give young artists or new artists is to be a beginner as often as possible. Always try to find something new that you're not comfortable with, because that's how growth happens. And I'm really bad at taking my own advice right now, because everything's moving online, everything's digital, everyone's on TikTok now, and I just refuse. I won't do it. I won't get on Twitch. And it's been 5 months now of quarantine, and I'm still holding on. I don't want to join the digital movement. So I'm not really taking my own advice there, but all through the last few months, the first thing I did, I was stealing barf bags from the airlines when I was traveling, and I was just doodling on them. So when the pandemic broke out, it was kind of perfect. And I started doing little pencil drawings on barf bags, and it felt good to get back to my art school roots and start sketching again, which I haven't done in a very long time. Just pick up a pencil and sketch. So I think, right now, especially, we have so many things working for us. We have the time, we have the audience, the whole world's a captive audience right now. Everyone's watching because we're all stuck at home. So there's really never been a better time to try new things or pick up, an old project. So I'm kind of trying to do that right now, but I'm very resistant to the online life. So I stick to Instagram.
Thank you.
No, and to add to that, I mean, just being true to yourself. So if you don't want to be online, you don't have to. There's plenty of ways to go about it. But yeah, definitely, if you're a new artist, just, what do you really love? What do you really want? Make it. There's probably a million people out there doing the exact same thing, but it doesn't matter. Just do it anyways. And art is subjective. So even if, you hate your work, doesn't really matter because someone probably does love it, and you're always going to hate your work. I think the better you get, the more you just find other things you don't like, and then you fix that and you move on. So yeah, just kind of get out there, do it, and stay consistent with it. I think that's the biggest thing a lot of people struggle with is like staying consistent with it. They're like, oh, I wish I could be better. It's like, well, then show up every day, or at least almost every other day, and do it. But
That's great advice.
I'm glad you actually said that, Jason, because we did receive a question from the audience, and it's someone who's a big fan of your work, and he asked, question for Jason. His work is usually highly detailed. What was the inspiration behind keeping the flowers in a silhouette?
Ooh, the silhouette thing is because it's more about the object, less about the details for those things, I think. So you don't really need it to be super detailed, but ironically it kind of is. Like if you look at the pictures close up, it's a silhouette, but it's like a torn out piece of paper. So there's still details there. But yeah, I think just to really hyper focus on that, it's not a rose, but what does a rose mean? Or like it's not a mouse, but what does a mouse mean? So I think that's why I chose the silhouette over painting a mouse or a rose.
Thank you. Thank you for asking or answering that. It is interesting, right? When you're talking about being consistent, but we do work with so many artists all the time. And so when an artist changes a little bit about what we're used to seeing, it shakes things up. It gets people excited. So thank you for answering that. And I have another question. It's actually for Morgan. That Skip mentioned that a lot of your work is involved in the convention scene or the con scene. And we actually have a lot of artists that, kind of dream of getting involved in the convention scene. And so the question is, what advice would you give to someone who wants to start making that like a big part of their career?
Well, the thing about conventions is that you have people that go for, like if it's a pan-genre Comic-Con, you have people that are going to go for that, but then you have a lot of people that just go because they want to kill time or hang out with friends. So you actually have access to a lot of different cross sections of people. So whatever it is that you want to showcase, don't worry too much about tailoring it to your audience. Like really bring something that you're proud of because you'll find your people there. They're definitely walking around. And then the best thing you can do is just to be a good observer, go to a con, see how other people set up and display, see what they bring. There's a lot of prints happening, but, other people will make, pins, different like t-shirts, different types of merch. And it might open your eyes to like some different merchandise or materials that you could be, using creatively that you've never thought of before. When I transitioned from showing in galleries to showing at conventions, it was like explosive the amount of options you have for actually, putting your work out there and getting it into people's hands. So, and then of course, you have to be willing to kind of just go and have a learning experience and not necessarily a profitable experience at first. But yeah, if you're lucky, there's some good events in Florida and you can have both. You can learn a lot and you can bring home some money. Best advice is just go and see what other people are doing and show up and be proud of your stuff because people will always respond to that.
That's awesome. Thank you. Thank you. And we do get a lot of artists that, especially our younger artists that are like, we're in Orlando. There's a lot of conventions that happen here. And how do I get into that? And it's the same kind of thing that we say when people are like, I want to do a solo show at CityArts. And we're like, whoa. Like, are you ready? Because these walls, it's a lot to cover these walls. And, even if you have a smaller gallery, it's still so much. And so same with going to a convention, you have to have product and you have to be prepared and so ready for that. So thank you. Thank you.
I have one last question, and it's for both of you. Talk a little bit about your collectors and followers. We had a conversation, I think it was last month, about the whole digital age in terms of really gaining followers and and what that means. And sometimes you're not invited if you don't have enough followers. How have you gone about getting collectors? Do you have regular collectors, and are you finding new collectors through digital media?
I'll take it first, I guess.
Okay.
So I don't worry too much about marketing my work, because I tend to be kind of niche, and I'm already making things that aren't really going to be for everybody. I've been rejected from galleries for being too explicit. I've been banned on social media, had my work taken down. So I kind of don't worry too much about impressing the online audience. But your digital footprint is so important now because you have access to so many more people. I remember when I was in college, when I was first starting as a professional artist, you had to be in a big city, you had to know the right people, you had to have people vouch for you. It was really hard work to break into the art scene. And now all of those barriers have been removed, and you can access people all over the world, that can see your art, appreciate it, and it's really opened a lot of doors. Unfortunately, I think it's getting to the point where galleries, especially, or conventions, some of the cons that I do are juried, and they won't take you unless you have a certain number of followers or like a YouTube channel. So it's getting right back to being as cutthroat as it used to be, just in a different way. So it's even more important now than ever to have good content and to put it out and to maintain that engagement. But it is another full-time job to stay online.
It is. You're doing a great job, both of you. Do you have anything to add to that, Jason?
Yeah. It goes back to the first thing I said of just showing up. I think if you want to have more followers, don't really worry about it. Interact with the ones you do have, because a lot of people will get stuck I want 1,000 followers, but they'll forget about the 50 they have. And they don't even talk to them. They don't message them because they're worrying about getting 100 more. And that's the biggest thing, is interact with the people you do have now, build a solid relationship with the people that do appreciate your work now, and the rest will come. You'll get more, and it'll add up. So don't worry about getting to 1,000 followers. Worry about the 5 you have now. Worry about the 10 you have now. Worry about the 100, and then just keep creating. So anyone who buys my work, they don't buy it because of X amount of people that follow me or whatever. They've either seen it and they've oh, I really love that piece, and then now you finally release a print that's just in the right price range, or I really wanted a piece and then you finally released one that was perfect for me. So it's just, you just create and worry about what you do have. Work within your means too. So
that's a really great way to end, because right when you were talking, someone actually bought one of your pieces online.
Yay,
So, and that advice that you just gave is a perfect example. We don't have hundreds of people watching right now, but the people who are on are very engaged and really appreciate what you all have to say, and they wanted to be here virtually tonight. And so, the Alstroemeria, that one was purchased. So there you go. That same viewer that asked about the silhouette versus the detail purchased that. So yay, congratulations.
I'll put a sticker on it.
Yes, Kat, put that sticker.
Red tape. Or a red sticker.
That is wonderful. Well, thank you all, and please share this with your friends that are following you. We hope that they see all the artwork either online on downtownartsdistrict.com or follow you and come and see it through now through September 13th. So thank you again. Of course, we couldn't do this without our artists and curators. Skip, you did a great job. Everyone that participated, thank you so much, and the staff, Haani and Kat, You're doing amazing work behind the scenes and in front of the camera. So again, the exhibit's up. Tonight's B-side exhibit will be featured until September 13 at CityArts. CityArts is open Tuesday through Sundays, 11 a.m. through 6 p.m. And as I said, if you go to the website, downtownartsdistrict.com, you can see a lot of the artwork there as well for purchase and fun retail that Ha'ani shared earlier. So we want to remind everyone that we do have strict protocol in this time of COVID-19. So we ask that everyone wear a face mask, don't come out if you're not feeling well or have any symptoms, and fill out a short little survey at the door. Also, we have these really fun markers to help to encourage social distancing. So come check it out. Before we conclude, I just want to share what's to come in September. We're very excited. There's an exhibit called Bombshell, and it's Masquerading Warfare by avant-garde couture designer Ben Van Busekom. The exhibit is presented by Global Peace Film Festival, and that will be in the downstairs gallery. And then in the upstairs gallery, there's a show called #Say Their Names. This is a BLM memorial portrait series to bring to light the many Black lives stolen that most likely you have not heard about in the media. And there's a stark contrast between their personal stories that are shared by their families and friends and the terrible way that they had brutally died by the hands of police brutality. So this is meant to raise awareness among us in support of the BLM movement. The works are created by Radha Mehta. She is an abstract portrait artist who is from Orlando, and she uses bright and vibrant colors that are in her portraiture works to show the individual's inner beauty beyond our exterior boundaries of race, color, and skin. So that is all of our content for tonight. Thank you again, everyone, for joining us. We hope you have a great evening. If you do have a drink, we salute you. I don't have mine, but cheers, the virtual cheers. Be well, keep creating, and please be safe and follow us on social media. We hope to see you in person soon. Bye.